ICN merger control, guidelines that are generally followed by most countries.
All right, so expand the de minimis, but both of you seem to be happy, and that's a rarity with lawyers. I do want to...
The turnovers, Menaka, are actually more, the thresholds are more than I think most countries in the world today.
So in fact, there's now no scope for complaint at all.
There should be no scope for complaint.
I hope not.
Okay, but you did bring up, Pallavi, in your very first answer, some confusion with regards to the exemption given to targets where assets are not more than 250 crores or turnover is not more than 750 crores, and you said you weren't sure whether this was Indian or global, right?
I would assume it's global, but the way I think it should work, or it should have been worded, is that the target should have in India assets of at least 250 crores or turnover of more than 750 crores. Then that's really the worth thing, where you bring the territorial nexus of both the acquirer and the target.
Since both of you are happy, I'm going to introduce a slight negative in this. I understand there are 3 types of forms to be filled. Now the third type is for banks, FIIs, public financial institutions, venture capital funds, and they have to file without paying a fee, which is good news, but they still have to file. Form 1, which I think most people expect will be the fast track clearance form, requires several transactions that I wasn't expecting to still file. For instance, acquisition of shares by underwriters will still have to file through Form 1 even if they are accorded fast track clearance. Acquisition via bonus or stock split will still have to file. I mean, acquisition of stock in trade will still have to file. Isn't this still going to expand the net to include all kinds of transactions that really may have no impact on competition?
See, 2 things. One, the way the Competition Act is drafted, it includes shares and assets.
Right.
Shares, voting rights, whatever else, and assets. So therefore, the form is in consonance with what the Act wants. The second issue here is that these are draft regulations, and there are several issues that need to be addressed. But I think, we have till June 1st. People need to bring in their comments, put it to the Competition Commission, and a lot of this will be cleaned up. I think this is a good start.
But it needs to be cleaned up.
Absolutely.
Right? Because in Form 1, you've got less than 15% acquisitions, you've got creeping acquisition, if I can put it broadly, you've got diversification via asset purchases, as long as you're not acquiring control of the entity that owns the asset. You've got cross-border transactions where only one entity is in India and has over 250 crores in assets or 750 crores in turnover. All those are fair in Form 1. But stock and trade, underwriters, stock splits, all of these to some degree need to go.
By the same boat, even a rights issue. If there are 2 shareholders and you do a rights issue for an increase in capital, it's acquiring new shares in a company.
I need to disagree with Pallavi over here. The situation here is that people can transfer control through bonus or rights, because one party will renounce them, one party will waive them. So all these things are required to make sure that control is not
I understand, but in order to, so it's like, in order to catch the big fish, you're bringing a lot of small unnecessary fish into the net as well. Look at the filing requirements, and with each of Form 1 filing, you've got a hefty fee to pay.
I can't agree with you that the small fish are caught. The small fish are excluded by the thresholds. So now we are only talking about big fish. I just think that bonus shares, rights, and the like, are one form of transferring control everywhere in the world, and they need to come under scrutiny.
So, to the extent that they are transferring control, that gets captured under acquisition of control, not acquisition of shares, because there are different methods of acquisition. Acquisition is very wide. It's not only shares, but it's also control. So if you're transferring control through rights or bonus you have to issue to all the shareholders, otherwise it's dividend if you don't issue to everybody. So if you're doing that, I agree with you, rights issues could be, or a preferential allotment. Those can be captured, but certainly that will be under control, not under acquisition of shares.
I'm sorry, I again beg to disagree, because the way the definition of the Section 5 is, it's acquisition of shares, assets. Control is a consequence of acquiring these issues.
Acquisition of control is independent of shares and assets. It's a comma between the 3, so there are 3 different ways in which acquisition, there are 3 different aspects of acquisition. That you can be acquiring shares, you can be acquiring assets, or you could be acquiring control.
Alright, so Pallavi, you would rather see some of these trimmed out of Form 1 filing requirements, correct?
I would think some of these actually should be exempted.
Okay.
The government had to exempt them. I know the Competition Commission cannot do it, but if the government is ready to exempt so many things, and these are the transactions that should be exempted. And again, if you look at the last one, which is the intra-group transfers, if they are a single economic entity, then whether A or B or C holds it doesn't make a difference.
Okay, so why do they need to file? All of these need to either be exempted or trimmed out of this list. I'm going to take it to Navneet, who's been very quiet till now. Navneet, the twofold question for which I want a quick answer. Firstly, do you believe that the enhancement of threshold, while it meets corporate India's requirements, meets the requirements of all other stakeholders, or do you think that we may have now cast the net too sort of narrow, so to speak?
I think it meets the expectation of everyone.
Okay.
So I have a little point here that, you know, some of the smaller transactions which may be critical in terms of impact, for example in pharmaceuticals or fertilizers or seeds, some of the transactions size wise may not be that big, but sometime on select occasion, please mind it, they may exert appreciable adverse effect on competition, and CCI may better watch out for that.
Even if you don't meet the thresholds and therefore do not have to report with the CCI, if they believe your transaction, which is maybe small in amount but has an appreciable adverse impact on the competition in that sector, they can in fact still ask for some form of modification,
yes,
right?
There is a residual power for that.
There is a residual power, right, Pallavi?
But Suhail, that would apply, the residual power, or what I call a suo motu power, would apply in my mind only to would only apply to transactions that meet the threshold. Otherwise, the CCI can review some of these agreements even suo motu under Section 3.
Alright, so at least the CCI can look into those transactions, to Navneet's first point. Secondly, I'm going to come to you on the issue of exemptions, and this has to do with industries asking for exemptions. For instance, the banking industry saying, well, we're already being regulated by the RBI, no deals take place without the RBI's prior approval, so why do we have to go through CCI clearance? Tomorrow you may have the insurance industry say the same with the IRDA, and who knows, telecom and aviation may also make the same claim for an exemption.
As far as the sectoral carve-outs are concerned, I think we are completely against it. We have always said that no sector should be outside the ambit of CCI because there is an international best practice that all structural issues may be left to the sectoral regulators, but all behavioral issues must be dealt with by the Competition Commission of India. And interestingly, I would like to bring this to your notice that if you look at AERA Act, this is the newest regulatory body,
which is the
Airports Economic Regulatory Authority. They have clearly carved out that all competition issues will be covered by the CCI and not by the sectoral regulators. So exactly same has to be approached in other sectors as well.